Welcome to the Practically Imperfect podcast. I'm Linzie.
And I'm Orson.
Orson, how was your week?
Well, for me, my week was good.
Yeah.
A lot of unexpected things happened, and just, yeah, I don't remember, it wasn't like anything crazy. It was just,
Oh, this week went by so slow for me. Like, oh my gosh, this was the longest week ever.
I think for me, I was more looking forward to being able to record this episode because this is something that we've been like hinting at in a lot of other episodes ever since we started this.
Yeah.
And you are finally letting us actually take a deep dive on all of it and do an entire episode about it.
Can you believe that this is episode 15?
That's cool. Oh, by the way, episode 14.
Uh-huh.
For anyone that actually listened to it or tried to listen to it,
Oh, right.
we
There was
are
a lot
heavenly,
of people who, yeah.
right? They're heavenly because that episode, the audio was really not that great.
I know.
And I mean, we don't know what happened with these mics, but anyways, hopefully we've gotten it fixed and this audio will be good now. But
yeah.
Anyways, so thank you if you are one of those people that listened to the last episode.
Yeah, there was a good amount. That's good. But yeah, this is episode 15 and I was like, wow, that's a lot of episodes. But then I was thinking, wait a second. That's 15 weeks of
that's true.
doing this. Isn't that insane?
When you put it that way, it makes it seem like we've been doing it a lot longer.
Yeah.
Like 15 episodes is really like not that many.
Yeah.
But because like when you think about your favorite podcast episodes, they've done hundreds of episodes.
Yes, hundreds.
And we're only on episode 14, so it's like, or 15, sorry, you're right, 15. And it's just like, oh man, we still have like a long way to go. But when you put it like 15 weeks, it's like, whoa, we've been doing it for...
Scarlett, our baby, is about to be 1 year old. And I think we started this, I think she was 7 months.
Mm-hmm.
Which is so crazy.
Yeah.
Wait, does that make sense? I don't know. 7 or 8 months, but yeah. So yeah, this is exciting. I feel like this is a milestone. 15, and the next will be 20, and then 30, and yeah.
50.
Yeah.
And then 100.
I don't know how much 100 weeks is. Is that a year?
I don't know.
I don't know anything about the calendar. Except that there's 365 days out of the year and 525,600 minutes. That's all I know with like time.
Oh wow.
100 weeks in years. Oh, 100 weeks is almost 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Apparently. It says 1.918 calendar years. So
it's a lot longer than I thought. 100.
Oh, there's 50. Oh, yeah. There's 52 weeks in a year.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Crazy. But anyway, without further ado, let's just get into this episode. I feel like this could be a lengthy one. Oh, okay. I don't like the noises that you're making.
Well, it's just, for me, I like talking about this stuff.
Yeah. It's a real life.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard real life. And unfortunately, I think that too many people are going to relate to us because I think this is my TikTok right now is just a lot of getting laid off, losing their jobs, trying to find work in this economy, in this job market. And it's just horrible for everybody, it seems, to get a good paying job that they have their degrees for. Like, I heard it's just rough out there in these streets. And so I think that this will unfortunately be relatable. But I don't know. Thankfully, things have gotten a lot better for us. And I know that for some people, it's still like they're still down in the dumps. So yeah. I'm definitely grateful. But yeah.
Well, as far as like the reasoning as to why it's gotten a lot better, I feel like we have maybe difference of opinions in that regard. And I like sharing my perspective on that side of things.
Well, let's start from the beginning. So,
what do you mean by the beginning?
Let's start with the beginning of when we were on top. And then it's just gonna trickle.
Well, let me on top. Like, well, let's first start. Like, how did we get on top? Like, what was happening? Like, so like we've already talked about like our marriage story and getting married and things like that. But essentially, I've always told Lindsay, hey, I want to be able to support a family by doing something I love.
Yeah.
And when we got married, we were living in a basement apartment. And during that time, I was working at 9 to 5 essentially. I mean, I worked from 7 to 3. That was the hours, or 7 to 4.
Those are the best hours, by the
It
way.
was a good hour.
Yeah, 7 to 3. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Anyways, so I was doing that as well as trying to put my name out there as much as possible as a videographer.
Yep.
And I was just doing a ton of free work and so on and so forth. And it took 3 years until I was able to quit that job.
Well, yes.
What else did you want to add?
Well, I was gonna say that you did both for a really long time. You had your
Yeah, for about 3 years, I was doing both.
Yep, and we were able to buy a house.
Yeah. So like that job I'm super grateful for, and it helped us do a lot of amazing things.
And honestly, so I was always working full time too, and I always had a really good job. I've had the same job since we were engaged. So I worked at this job for 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's always been really good for us. But I don't remember wanting you to quit. Like it was always like, oh, it was always scary for me.
It was.
But at that point, when you were able to quit, it was more of an inconvenience for you to have your job, because your job also was like not very flexible with like having time off. And you would need to like shoot some days, shoot like film. So it was kind of like, if you want to grow even more than you are now, which you are already making really good money. I remember you were mainly doing weddings, and weddings are really good. That it was like, you have to quit. If you don't, then you're just going to be stuck here kind of. You can't really do anything else because your job takes up a lot of your time too.
It did. And I was waiting for that moment for so long. Like when I was working that job, oh my gosh, it felt like the longest days ever. I was always thinking, oh my gosh, when am I gonna be able to quit? There's 3 songs that I listened to every single day going to work, and one of them was One Day by Logic. The second one was Underdog by Alicia Keys. And I think there might have been one other one, but I think those 2 songs got me to work because we lived pretty close.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, but I mean, that was the wrong mindset looking at it now. Like, if I could go back and do it over again, I think the biggest thing that I would change as far as the way that I viewed, like, because when I was living or working there, it's called a RAM company. And
Shout out.
make aerospace technology parts for like spacecrafts and stuff. Like, if you're an engineer and you like that, like it's a cool job.
Oh yeah.
And I got to work with my hands and stuff. So I mean, I got to pass the time too by listening to podcasts. Towards the end, I got a little unruly and started watching Netflix.
Health insurance, ADA for you because
Which is
a disability.
Yeah, which allowed me to take days off, and I was using that as much. Like, I wasn't using it for my actual condition. I was using it to take days off so I could go do my second job.
Yes.
So
which was filming and editing.
Yeah. So I mean, I was taking ADA so I could go do that, which isn't
like it's a really good company to work for.
It is, yeah. Anyways, where was I going?
How you wanted to quit so bad and you finally were able to.
Oh yes, and if I could go back and change anything.
What year did you quit? Was it 2022? I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe.
When was it 21?
I don't remember.
Because we got married in 19. I was already
21. Dang, that's a long time ago.
19, 20, 21. So it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 years. So
2022 was just our year of being quote unquote rich.
Oh my gosh. Yes, we will definitely get to that. But I'll just briefly mention, like, if I could go back and do anything over again, and I feel like that's what a lot of my own personal content focuses around with my own personal brand, is really try my best to help anyone else in that situation, like working a dead-end job that they absolutely hate, They would rather be doing something else. And so a lot of the videos and stuff I make are from the perspective of trying to help that version of me 5 years ago. Is it 5 years ago now
When what?
when I was working there? Has it been?
It's been 5 years since we married.
So yeah, 5 years ago that I was working there. So the biggest thing that I would change, I keep saying that, but what it is like I would try to fall in love with that life as much as I possibly could. But it was really hard because I was doing something that I didn't want to be doing every single day. I wanted to be doing like it's so
Yeah.
hard to love your life when you are doing things every single day that you feel like you have to do that you don't want to do at all. Like it is, but I really believe that the biggest superpower you could develop is learning to love where you're at, even if it's not where you want to be. And that's kind of a lesson that I've been able to kind of really practice, especially as we're going through this hard season. And we'll talk more about it here soon. But yeah, if I go back and change anything, that's what it was. Because I mean, when I was listening to podcasts and stuff, I always heard, oh, you gotta do everything to the best of your ability. If you're a janitor, sweep the best floors. If you're this, just do your best
Yes.
with it all. And I totally understood that. And I was like, okay, how can I apply that? But it was like trying to actually apply it in that season of life was so much easier said than done. And man, but I mean, if someone could develop that skill, man, they would be light years ahead of where I ever was. That's for sure.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think. So you quit your job and you were doing weddings. That was what you were doing for your
So
income.
when I quit, though, part of the reason why you were okay with it was because we could see out for almost the next year of like weddings that I had
Ooh.
booked, and so we knew, oh, I'm gonna get paid this time, this time, this time. So like for the upcoming year, we already knew this is about what we were gonna get paid.
Oh my gosh, you're so right. I forgot about that. So you had,
And then,
I believe you quit in like February or something. It was the beginning of the year and you had until December, I believe, or at least 6 months out. Like you had pay periods because how he structured it is okay, when you book with me, you pay half now and a half a month before your wedding. And so he just had payments scheduled. And so I could, you're right. You're right. I forgot about
but
that.
then a month after I quit, I had an opportunity with my mentor at the time, who was needing someone with my skill set. And that really excited me because I always wanted to work for somebody that was trying to build a personal brand and
Yes.
help other people with like personal development and things like that. So that got me really excited, and I went pretty full head into that with him. And I kind of stopped taking weddings, and I realized I don't really want to be doing weddings.
Yeah, weddings is hard work, you guys. I mean, I'm talking like I know, but they're 6 hour filming days and you have to edit for such a long time.
The editing process does take a while, especially the sifting of the footage.
Yeah.
That's the most boring part. But weddings, like the people you get to work with are fun. It's a fun atmosphere a lot of the time. They can be
But
stressful, but
your weekends,
if you know how to manage your stress, it's super fun.
right? But also you had like no weekends.
That's true, because yeah, I
That
mean, I was always working on the weekends, and then during the week I was at home, and during the week you'd just be editing at home.
and I was at work.
And
So
the hard part that I had too was like working from home like that. You don't ever get to really interact with anybody other than,
that's true.
and so that was something that was an unforeseen difficulty that I wasn't expecting.
Well, anyway, so like Orson said, he did get an opportunity to work with this guy who, yes, he said that he was his mentor, and he wanted to take him on as so he wanted Orson to be his full-time videographer, editor, content creator, all that fun stuff. And Orson had a price in mind, and he was like, okay, let's do it.
What do you not want to say what the price was?
No, because it's not that much.
It's not that much, but that would really put into perspective of how weird our thinking was.
Oh my gosh, you're so right. So, okay, sure. So Orson was like, okay, I want $5,000 a month from you, from this one guy, from that. And he would have an office space. So he would work in the office with him every single day, make content, post on his. It was just like the dream job for you.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. And he was doing weddings on top of that. So he was making just you.
I mean, it wasn't 5 grand every single month from him because
Oh,
I wasn't, because sometimes I would have to leave to go do weddings or certain things like that. And so I wasn't, there was some times where I didn't do enough of the work per se to like get the full
oh,
5,000.
gotcha,
So
gotcha.
it wasn't every single month, but yeah, there were some months where I was making around 7 grand a month
And that was just you. And I was working full time and I was making probably 3,000 a month at the time. So together we were making $8,000 to $10,000 a month when it was just two of us. And honestly, you guys, we didn't know what to do with all that money. Some people I know they are laughing so hard, like $10,000 a month, that's nothing. But to us,
I mean,
oh,
let's put it
oh,
like our bills weren't nothing. So it was you and
our
me.
bills were like,
We also, I think we had a roommate at the time that was helping, that she was renting a room.
she what? Yeah, we did.
Not because we like needed her to, but like we're
No.
just like, yeah, you can, we have 4 extra rooms we don't use. You can definitely come live with us.
Yeah.
So she was paying rent and we didn't have a car payment.
Uh,
Well, at that
yes, we
point,
did. We had two cars and I had a cheapo car.
so it was like a hundred,
$200
maybe
car
200.
payment.
I,
Like our bills were like 3 grand a month, if that.
and that's including a mortgage.
Yes. And if we were making 10 on a good month, that's 7,000 extra dollars, you guys. Like that's a lot. Like with our
Actually, like
ratio.
two newly-ish married people
Yeah,
that
we
have a
were
whole new brand new
21,
house.
22. Like, oh, we were living the life.
And we got like Target every single weekend.
You guys, because we didn't know what to do with this money, guess how much we saved of that? $0, you guys. I literally want to throw up in my mouth just thinking about how we lived our life. It was so stupid. And the reason why we every spent every single dime that we had is because our experience thus far was just, oh, we're just going up.
And better
It's
and
getting
better.
better and better. I didn't even have the comprehension, you guys, of something going wrong in our lives because it had just gotten better and better and better, and we were on top of the world. We had a brand new home. We built a brand new home at 21 and 22. We bought an SUV Mercedes. Did we pay for it in full? Absolutely not. We leased it. It was,
We didn't lease it.
yes, we did.
Leasing is something different
Oh,
compared to just, we bought the Mercedes, but we were paying for it. We got a loan for the Mercedes.
yeah, isn't that what leasing means?
No, leasing is like they still own the car. You're just like renting it basically.
Never heard of that.
That's from what I understand about it. I guess I
Okay.
could be wrong,
Yeah,
but
we
anyways.
had yeah, I turned in my Hyundai Sonata. We traded it for an SUV Mercedes, and that car payment was almost $600. So we did that. Did we need to do that? 0%.
Nope.
And the maintenance on that thing, astronomical.
What was our reasoning for buying that car? Do you remember what it was?
I don't remember a reason.
I remember being in your parents' living room looking at cars. I think they had just bought like a new BMW or something.
Yeah, they did.
And we had been at the dealership looking at their cars, and this Mercedes, it was a GLC 300. I think it was a 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
It was used.
it was definitely used,
Yeah.
but I mean, a Mercedes is still a Mercedes. It was still
Yeah.
the nicest car either one of us has ever really test driven or you see.
Yeah.
So I remember being there, and I was like, wow, like what if we bought this? It was like $32,000, and I was thinking,
It's not even that much.
yeah. And I remember just talking with your dad, like, what if we bought like, anyways, and I convinced myself like we deserve this. Like we would, That's like we've been. I've been.
Literally don't even
I've been
remember.
working hard. I've been like putting in the work to make this dream happen, and now I made it happen. Like, like we deserve this. Like we deserve this car. Like let's have fun.
And we did have fun with it. I
And
love
then
that car.
And then before, like, we went back to the dealership and we are like, I don't know if it's the best idea. And we left. And then I remember sitting in the parking lot of the office space where I worked at.
Yeah.
And then I think you finally pushed us over the edge of like, you know what? Let's just do it.
Um,
And let's just
like
go
it's
home.
only $600 a month. Like, what even is that? I'm so stupid.
So
And
am I.
and
Anyways.
literally, you guys, when you had it, compliments up the wazoo.
Oh my gosh, like getting it washed at the car. What do you do?
Because we look like babies, even though we're both 25 now. When we were 21, we just look young. So everyone was like, someone asked if you were a YouTuber or something. I remember that. But yeah, anyway, so we had the car.
People would like talk to me like I was a car person. I mean, I want to be a car person, but I was just like,
Like everyone would be like, "Oh my gosh, that's your Mercedes?" And we'd be like, "Yeah." It's not like it was a G-Wagon or anything. Like so hilarious. So yeah,
just
that
a cool
happened.
looking car, man.
We went to
I'll put
New
some
York.
pictures up on the YouTube for those of you that are listening. I'll put a picture up of what
Okay.
the car was.
Yes. And we went to New York that year as well for our anniversary. Best trip ever. We did the bougiest of the bougie. We got the nicest hotel. We only ate at the best restaurants. We didn't take the subway. We only Ubered. I got brand new
I
outfits.
I wanted to take the subway. You were too scared.
No, you want to know why we didn't take the subway? It's because I was like, Kay, do you want to figure out how to use it? Because I'm not doing that. And you didn't want to either. So you wanted me to do all the work. So I was like, F that. We're doing Ubers. We would go shopping every single weekend at Lululemon. For why? I don't know. You didn't need any more polos.
I don't. It wasn't like every single
It was
weekend.
every weekend, babe.
Where did I buy? I only have 3 polos from
You
there.
have like 5 polos.
Oh, I only have 3 polos from Lululemon.
Okay,
That
polos,
balance,
but
yeah.
you still have like workout pants. You have sweaters. Like I remember that
No,
year.
but like, hold on. I'm defending myself here.
Okay.
The 3 pairs of the 3 pairs of shorts I have were all gifts. The
Okay.
the sweatpants were gifts. The sweater, one sweater I actually bought it, and 2 sweaters were gifts. So there's only 4 things out of
Oh,
like.
how did you only buy 4
So
things?
it was.
We were at the mall. We Target. We
It's mostly
so
Target.
till we dropped. Was it really mostly Target on new
So it's
furniture?
you.
Oh,
You at Target is really the culprit, not me at Lululemon.
I mean, you would buy one shirt and be $100.
Yeah, whatever.
So yeah, I don't even know how we got through that. Meaning, like, I don't even know how all that money was spent. I really don't. Like, we have nothing to show for it other than we went to New York.
Yeah. And then
I don't remember what furniture we bought. No idea.
we bought furniture.
Well, at Target, if we spend yeah, I'm not buying clothes at Target.
Yeah, I don't even remember.
I don't even know.
I mean, we have these chairs somehow. Was this?
This was when we bought the house.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know. Like, it's so dumb. I don't even remember. So, fast forward. So, let's see. You
We
got
went.
that gig, that personal videographer gig, I believe in March or April.
Mhm.
And
We go to New York in October,
yes.
and we used the credit card
Why
for
would we
that
do that?
because we knew we were going to be able to pay it off. We were making more than enough to pay it off within the next month to 2 months.
Yeah.
And so we're like, hey, let's just do this. Let's just go have fun. This is like technically our anniversary trip because,
Yeah, it was. It was during our anniversary.
or not our anniversary. It was technically almost our honeymoon-ish because it was our first trip.
Just
You know,
us two, I guess. Yeah.
anyway, so we wanted to go all out with it.
And we did.
Yeah. So
We
October was New York. Then this job that Lindsay's referring to, I got in March, and then in December
No, it was November. It was right after we got back from New York, I feel like.
Yeah, so I mean, it was November, end of November is when I started talking to the guy that I was working for, and it started to become apparent. Like, there was three of us in the business together that was trying to build this thing. One guy actually ended up leaving in like September, I think, and then it was just me,
From
me
there.
and me and my boss just trying our best to do whatever we could to make it keep going. Because I mean, for him at the time, this was his dream business too. Like, it's what he thought he would continue to do forever. And I mean, he's still really good at it and the best in my opinion. But it's just like entrepreneurial coaching. That's pretty much all it was. I mean, it's deeper than that.
Anyway.
I only said deeper than that just in case he's listening. Because I
Oh
mean,
my gosh.
it is deeper than that, and it's a great.
Hello, if you're watching, you know who you are. Basically, Orson got fired. He got the boot.
It wasn't. It was. I don't like putting it that way because it was like a long decision, and he clearly did not like talking about it. He wanted it to keep. He was trying to make things work,
He
and he
can't
was like,
afford Orson. I mean, clearly, $5,000 a month is a lot of money for a small business to be paying one person, you
mm-hmm.
know? And because this was Orson's dream job, after he started working full time with him, he had stopped taking weddings. So he only had weddings throughout. I don't even remember when your last booked wedding was, but it wasn't. I mean, you stopped taking weddings in March, and this was probably November or December. I'm not really sure. I don't think you had like really any weddings coming up because you had stopped taking them.
Mm-hmm.
So not only did Orson get the boot,
I don't like putting it that way.
that's what had
But
happened.
literally, he was trying to
like,
make.
I can't afford you. I'm so sorry, and that was it.
No, he was trying to make it work,
But
and I was the one. I was like, no, I was the one to say, no, let's just break it off here because I don't want to put you in a worse situation by thinking you can make it work because he was just trying to be nice and like keep things going because he knew how bad I wanted it too.
well, either or.
But oh, whatever, I got
Boot
fired.
was
Sure, fine.
kicked. I don't even know the metaphor. But so, yeah, that income was no longer going to come in. And Orson had really no weddings coming up.
The only thing I did have was like
Oh, that is true. You didn't have one.
a really
You're right. It wasn't the end of the world right then and there. And that was like shocking. And I remember crying a lot, but I was like, hey, Orson has another consistent client that I believe was bringing in $2,000 a month.
I think so.
Yes. So I was like, okay, I'll work full time. Still, I never stopped working full time. So I was like, okay, we'll still like be able to pay our bills. But the Mercedes was a little bit like that hurt. The Mercedes hurt every single month.
Yeah, when I lost that job, it was like, oh boy, what are we gonna do with this car? Plus, we didn't mention about the car was honestly a piece of shit.
It was. Don't buy used cars, you guys.
Well, I mean, buying used cars is not the issue. It's just
always
like that.
An issue with me.
Like we didn't do enough research on that car to make sure it was gonna do what we needed it to do, which was drive in the first place. Like the first day we bought it.
What do you mean?
Well, here it was driving,
like,
but
what do you mean research?
But as far as like making sure it goes to a mechanic and having someone to look at it before you buy a used car.
Oh, I don't know if you're allowed to do that.
Well, I mean, I know some people have it done. You know, and like if you're gonna buy a, anyways.
Let's try and think of the problems that.
So I was about to do it. So like the first day or the second day we had it, the back right window would not roll back up, and so we had to take it to the dealership. I mean, whatever, they fixed it after a while.
Yeah.
It was down like that for a few days though, because they had to order some parts. So we were driving with the back window down, and then the air conditioning stopped working.
Oh, that was horrible.
Right at the beginning, like we bought it right at the beginning of the summer in southern Utah. It gets like 100 degrees.
110, 120.
Yeah,
like it's hot.
It's hot. And so there was that.
The radio was very scratchy.
The radio wasn't the best.
Or
The navigation didn't work.
Berger's navigation didn't work?
Like, technically the car had its own navigation system, but that didn't work. We just,
Oh, jeez.
yeah,
Horrible car. The worst was the oil leak. That was so
and
embarrassing.
as if we like
Never park in any driveways. It was so awkward and embarrassing.
that wasn't even the issue up front. There was no oil leak, and then we started taking it to a mechanic that the dealership recommended we take it to try to get the air conditioning fixed or whatever the issue was at the time.
Yes.
And then we got it back, and all of a sudden there was an oil leak, and we're like, "What the heck is this?" So we took it back. Hey, fix this. Okay, we fixed it. Nope, not fixed. And then we went back
pay for any of this.
Yeah,
Or
we
the
did.
dealership took care of it, so that was
And it's
amazing.
probably the only reason is because it started happening from like day one,
Yeah.
and it just kept happening. But like we kept just going back, and like the car spent so much time in a
We still had to make that car payment, even though we didn't have to technically pay for all of those fixes. Like, we still had to pay.
yeah. And then finally, I just got to the point where I was like, "Okay, I'm picking the mechanic," and I found like a certified Mercedes dealer
Yeah.
that was working on it. Well, one thing that was cool though, we did take it to the Mercedes dealership,
Oh, yeah.
and they gave us a loaner car.
Yeah, that was fun.
And that was like one of their brand new SUVs.
Yeah, that was
and
fun.
that was a fun little car to drive around.
Yeah, so I guess, yeah, it was a rough time. So since we needed our lifestyle to stay the same, I also kind of freaked out and was like, okay, we have 3 extra rooms. We're going to have roommates to pay us each $500 a month. So they
It
can
was
pay.
$550, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So with all of our roommates, 3 of them, we were able to pay the mortgage. So low key, since our mortgage was getting paid, nothing's really changed as far as sources because we didn't have a mortgage payment and we were still making, I don't know, $4,000 or $5,000, probably $5,000 a month
I
still.
don't think it was that. I mean, I was only making like maybe 2.
Yeah, you were making like 2. I was making probably 3. Like, it was probably, I was working full time still.
You were making 3, you think?
$1,500 a paycheck, yeah.
Okay, anyways.
So
It did not feel like that much at the time. Like,
well, I don't remember. I don't think we went shopping every single weekend like we normally would. But I just remember we still like went out to eat all the time. Like, we did not really, I don't remember changing our lifestyle except I don't know if we went on any trips. Maybe we went to Disneyland one time. I have no idea. But I remember during this time, so this was 2023 now. Since we were still doing okay and we had roommates, I was like, let's have a baby. Also,
let me also think. So, 2023,
well, here actually,
we
sorry, I don't
had,
know what you're about to say, but
go ahead.
we started trying for our baby when
We went to New York.
Yes, when we went to New York. So nothing finance-wise. We were on top of the world. It felt like when we started trying for her. And
Because in my
we
mind,
didn't stop, you know.
well, and two, like a big reason to why I felt more okay to start trying to have a kid is like I feel like I finally made that thing happen of I want to be able to support my family by doing something I love.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, as soon as we started trying to start a family, everything just falls apart.
Well, it wasn't fully.
It took a year for it to really fall. I mean, it started to fall apart right when that happened.
So I got.
And then it just took an entire year, or not entire year. It took about half
6
of
months-ish, yeah.
half of 2023 for it to get bad.
So I got pregnant in April of 2023, and I was like, okay, like I pretty much was like, when I have this baby, I'm not going to be working full time. And I know I was kind of the backbone of our finances because I was full time and consistent for our whole marriage. So I was like, okay, when I have this baby, like I'm putting my foot down, like I'm not working full time. Maybe I'll work part time. I don't even want to work at all. But I mean, with how our situation is now in our lifestyle, like I'm okay with doing part time. And Orson was still not taking weddings, mostly because he wasn't marketing himself as a wedding videographer for
I was
a
still
couple years at this
I
point.
was still getting reached out to about weddings. I think I still booked maybe one or two for that
You were
year,
still
but
consistent though. Like it wasn't like, okay, we have
uh,
wedding money. Like no.
like the pattern for me at least is like I've gotten really good at the skill, and then I get full time to the point like with weddings.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this could take off, and then something shiny comes along, and then I get distracted and go a different route,
I
and then
know.
it's like
So
that's
one of our biggest regrets, like, okay, when this dream job came around for Orson, he stopped doing weddings completely. You should have stuck with weddings because you still are. If you film a wedding today, like it would be gorgeous. Like you're a really good wedding videographer.
yeah. The only thing I would say about that is like I don't necessarily always agree because there was a lot of growth and lessons that happened in being able to like I wanted to be fully in. And when I started that job,
Mm-hmm.
the position and the state of the business at that point was we were going into businesses. My mentor would coach the business owner. We had a systems guy that would help implement a bunch of systems on the back end. And then I would also be the person to come and help create content and advertisements for this company. So it was like
Okay.
it was like a all-in-one growth for businesses. But then as the situation changed, it became a lot more just individual focused, less business, and so there was less for me to really do. So like the structure of kind of how that was working fell apart in that aspect.
Well, yeah.
But the thing that I was going to say is when we started having kids, or right around the time you got pregnant, I knew I was like, hey, we're going to get pregnant soon. I still want to try to do something that I love and support us. And a personal brand and sharing my own thoughts and messaging was always something that I thought about a lot. And I was like, hey, this is a perfect time to do it. And so like I invested in a a workshop that was $900, and it's a lifetime membership, so I still have access to it, which was a good investment. So I can always still go back and learn stuff, and I'm still learning things from it today. Um, I think it was a good investment. Maybe you don't, but that was one of the things that put us into further credit card debt, because I purchased
It was
that.
horrible. Our financial and decision making was absolutely horrible. And Orson, I think you can attest to this, like you weren't doing as much as you could. Like you were trying, but not trying hard enough.
In what ways?
So
So wait, before you say in what
also before we start getting into like this aspect, we do go to therapy and we talk about this still. So I'm not just bringing this out to him first time on camera on the podcast. Like, no, we've talked through this. Like, it's been a year at this
I
point.
mean, in my head, I'm really grateful for what happened. But as though in your head, you're very much like, I hated that time of my life. And yeah, and I'm the complete opposite.
Well, because you weren't going through what I was going through.
But
You got to
so
slide by.
no,
Yes, you
here's the thing. Here's the thing with this. Before we started recording this, I told Lindsay, don't hold back from how you truly felt during that time, because
Oh, of course not. Why would I?
I don't want to hold back as far as kind of what I was thinking,
Yeah.
and whether you think it's gonna paint me in a bad light or not, I don't really care, because I want to be fully upfront and honest with the thoughts that you were having and the thoughts that I was having.
Yeah.
So before you get into what you're gonna say,
Okay.
like we got pregnant in April.
Yes.
Right before around that, I was really went all in on my personal brand. I was posting 2 videos every single day, and was going to try to start selling things through that to help make money, as well as I still had the client
You did.
side.
We still had one client that was like keeping us afloat. But what was worrying me is because of how fast his other client, because when you're freelance and you have clients, they could just like, I guess just like a job, you can get fired, you can get laid off at any point. But I feel like with like a business and a company, it's kind of less likely. But with freelance, they could literally just be like, well, I can't really afford you anymore. You're just my videographer. Like, I don't really need you that much. So like, goodbye. And then it's done. So And since Orson only had one client left, consistent client, I was like, okay, he could literally like just call you up and say, never mind, I don't really need you anymore in a second. And then we would actually be screwed and have nothing. We would only have my income, which would only get us through our like house bills pretty much. And everything else, like groceries, Stella's dog food, we still had the frickin' Mercedes. We no longer we got rid of the Mercedes, okay? It was a very hard process, not meaning like it was an expensive process. Like,
Yeah, we had to pay 10 grand just to get out of the thing.
yes.
And
Out of the
we
loan.
had to borrow more money from my dad.
Yeah. We didn't have 10 because I did that. We saved
We didn't save any of it,
We
right?
saved $0 when we were making so much freaking money. Like, oh, so annoying.
So I don't know. The caveat to all of this, not a caveat, but the bottom line though is like we had family members on both sides that were there for us, and like not everybody has that. And like we should just recognize the fact how fortunate we were to be able to have family that supportive.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But sorry, I keep
So,
interrupting you.
no, it's okay. So I was just kind of like telling Orson, like, hey, try and get more clients, just to have some like backup leeway so we know that we're going to be okay. And Orson just kept saying, no, I'm going to work on my personal brand. And he did that. And literally, like, with like social media and Instagram, TikTok, literally anything, like, yes, there's one positive note of, oh, one video that can go viral and then that'd be it. I get a lot of followers. I'd keep building up that momentum. But also it could very much not, and no one could watch your videos, and then it's nothing. So,
Spoiler alert, which is what happened.
of course. Not of course, because no one really knows what could happen, but I mean, you don't know if you don't try. But if we didn't have a baby on the way, I would not care. I'd be like, you do you, Orson. I have my job. We'll still have our roommates. I'll be fine. But what was it if we didn't like it would be so different if we didn't have a baby on the way, because I wouldn't have to pull back from working full time, and we could have had all of our rooms filled. But when the baby came, I was like, I don't want any roommates. I want just for it to be me and you and the baby in our house. Thank goodness, because I was naked all the time. My boobs were out all the time when we had her, because oh my gosh, just being a new mom and trying to breastfeed, oh my gosh, it's so crazy. But anyway, so I was like, hey, we're gonna have to start paying our mortgage again because we won't have roommates, and um, I won't be working full time. So what the heck are you gonna do? You had no plans. So, and as I had predicted, I don't exactly remember what month, but it was towards the
Okay.
middle. It was
So what? Middle of what?
when your one consistent client gave you the boot, dropped you.
Yeah, it was like October, November
Yeah, it was bad.
of 23.
Yeah.
So November was
So I
rough.
was due in, it was my third trimester, probably the end of my second trimester. Orson actually was making $0. He made $0 for quite a long time.
But there was a wedding in December. Remember that like came out of nowhere, and it was a total blessing because it allowed us to pay the mortgage and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Oh, you're acting
Oh, that's
like
true.
we got taken care of. Like things were hard. I'm not discounting that, but there was miracles that were happening along the way that allowed us to be okay.
We were okay. So,
We didn't lose the house.
no, we could only pay our mortgage, and that was because of me.
Yeah, you're right.
We had to borrow so much money from both of our family members for groceries, for Stella's dog food, for gas. It was, thank goodness we didn't have a car payment, but we obviously had to pay car insurance. I needed really good health insurance for me and the baby because I knew it was going to have a baby in prenatal care. So I need really good insurance. So that was also a few $100s a month. Like it was just, bills add up. And so when I'm only bringing in I feel like I wasn't working as much when I was pregnant either. I wasn't bringing in as much either. So we were actually drowning. We had no savings. We were just stacking on credit card debt. And Orson wasn't, I kept telling, I think it was November where I was like, I'm going to have a baby in 2 months. You need to get a job. Like, I don't freaking care anymore. You need a consistent 9 to 5. I'm not working full time when I have her, and I'm taking 8 weeks off. We're unpaid maternity leave. Like, what, we can't just keep having our parents pay for our lives because my parents aren't rich, your parents aren't rich. That's a burden on them as well. It's not like our parents just have all this money. Like, no, they don't. But they don't, but they, my parents would not have helped as much as they did if we didn't have a baby on the way. And maybe that was your family as well. Like, I think just having the baby come, it just heightened every single emotion. Like, roommates can't be here. I'm not going to be working as much. This, we're going to have to buy diapers, like so many more expenses. And I was so pregnant and so sick, and I was working full time, busting my booty so we could pay for our bills, and you were doing, it seemed like, nothing. And even when the baby got here, still nothing. You didn't land a job until March or April, so she was 3 or 4 months old. And um and for some reason you still didn't want to do anything but work on your personal brand. I put that in quotes. Um, and it was just really hard, And I was getting very stressed out. I'm also a control freak, by the way. So this probably has something to do with me being a control freak as well. But I was looking on Indeed for like marketing, videography, content creator jobs. And I had his resume in my phone, and I was just applying to literally everywhere. And it was also really hard too, because like I said in the beginning of the episode, the job market sucks balls. Like, Orson would get so many interviews and literally not hear back. That is the actual worst thing about the job market today is, and apparently it happens all the time, where you'll have 2 or 3 interviews and they won't even send you an email like, hey, we went in another direction. You literally just get ghosted. And when we desperately needed a job, and I wanted to find Orson something that was in his expertise, in his field, um, whenever he would get an interview, I would just pray and pray and pray that it would work out. And oh my gosh, how many interviews did you have?
Go on. I don't know exactly how many, but
Like 20? So many, until he finally landed one. And that was literally the best day of my life. Like, it was amazing. Um, but yeah, it's still traumatic for me. Like, especially because the reason why I waited until now to kind of talk about our struggles and finance, like just being so incredibly broke. It was our fault, by the way. Like, we should have saved more. Like, if we were better at our finances when we had money to put away, this wouldn't have been as traumatic as it was, you know? Um, let's see, what was I saying? Oh, the reason why I saved it for now during holiday time is because I feel like it just really just sank even more that we couldn't buy each other Christmas presents. We didn't buy anything for each other. And I was about to give birth. Let's see, Christmas came and I gave birth 9 days later. So it was just that on top of it. And it was just like so depressing. Like, last year's holiday season was like depressing. Like, I think I'm still traumatized, honestly, from the mental load of being pregnant, the mental load of working full time still. What are we going to do? And I felt like I was the only one trying to fix it. And so, like I said, I still bring it up in therapy. I'm still like, what the F was that time in our life? And thankfully now it's so much better, you guys. But it's kind of starting to come back probably like a week ago when I put on that Christmas onesie. It literally just, I got hit with all of those emotions again of how broke we were, how horrible the holiday season was last year. And thank goodness it's better this year, but it's still just like, ugh, it still haunts me and probably will forever haunt me, hopefully. I mean, hopefully it won't forever haunt me during the holidays because who wants that? Not me.
That was a lot.
Well, you just kept me, let me go on and on. Mm.
Did you say everything that you wanted to?
Yeah.
Where would you like me to start off?
Well, you can kind of say, like, obviously, you know what my mental state was. I think, like I said, you guys, a lot of this had to do with I was pregnant and there was a baby on the way. If none of that was happening, it would have been a completely different story. But so that was my mental space and my mental load at that time.
Yeah. Um, yeah, you really painted it like I was doing nothing. And I can see how to you it might have looked that way. To me it definitely didn't feel that way.
Yeah.
Um, could have I gotten a job sooner? I mean that probably would have been, yeah, it would have been the more mature thing to do. But I think I'm grateful for the way that it happened. Oops. I'm grateful for the way that it happened because without those experiences, it wouldn't have brought us to who we both are today and who I am today.
You think?
Yes, all those experiences definitely worked in our favor for us.
I think finance wise, for sure. Like, obviously, we needed a
There's a
wake up
lot more
call.
than just a deep. There's not. It's deeper than just the finance stuff. So what?
Can
Go
I say
ahead.
one more thing? Because
Yeah.
you said I'm grateful for that time. Can you at least acknowledge that? Like, I don't even know how you could say you're grateful for that time when I was in a deep depressive, pregnant, full time working, trying to keep the roof over our head mess. Like, it's really sad that you say you're grateful for that time. You're grateful that I went through that.
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay,
It was hard.
just your wording a little
It
bit.
was hard. It was hard to watch you go through that too and watch you put so much pressure on yourself in that regard. And it was hard to know that I was a big reason or the reason for that. Um, However, I will say that that experience of you carrying that mental load, I I think I would say it's something that you should be grateful for because it's gonna push you. It's gonna make you the mom that you've always wanted to be, and the person that you've always that God intends you to be. It's those experiences that build us into the person that God needs us to be on this earth. And the fact that you're like making a face at that and stuff really is sad for me because
Hmm.
a lot of the work that I'm doing, the kind of life that I'm trying to build, like having that kind of face regarding those kind of thoughts and sayings is not in alignment with the kind of life that I'm building. And it's not.
I'm making faces, like kind of like a stank face,
Like
if you will.
that's dumb, or that's like
Yeah,
what
a stank face. It's a stank face.
like
What
like
way he's talking because I mean, I just don't agree, but we can disagree. It's totally fine. Agree to disagree?
yeah, but like the thing with choosing to be grateful for those moments is and those like so okay, let me before I go in that direction, let me say kind of what I was doing and why I feel like why that period of life was so important for at least for me.
Yeah.
like I am so grateful for the way that you handled it because it also allowed me to do what I felt like Heavenly Father was wanting me to do, which was work on myself in this aspect. And there was lessons that I needed to learn to become the man that I needed to be because I there was some hard lessons that I needed to do. And I wish it didn't have to have happened that way.
Okay.
Because yes, it was hard. I don't want to neglect the fact that you're saying it was hard. I agree. It was hard. It sucked. It was awful.
I
I
think
hated it.
I think
But
you're
I
just
don't.
such a positive person
No,
that
but
you
here's the
always
thing.
are
Like,
looking at
even when my
situations.
mom died, that was probably harder than what we went through in a completely different way. I would not change that for like I wouldn't change that either because that experience has brought me to who I am today. That experience brought me home earlier. That experience pushed me to go to Utah and then move here and then I met you. Without that experience, I could have been somewhere totally different. Without these experiences, our life will not turn out the way that it will in the future. But because these experiences, we are built tougher. We're learning how to manage our finances better. We're going to therapy. I mean, we've been
We
going to
were
therapy for a year, even way
um
before this happened. But
when we were in the thick of it though, we had to cancel a couple sessions though because we couldn't afford it.
yeah, but like that experiences is not a bad thing. It's a good thing because of the fact that it's building us into who we need to be and who God needs us to be able to make an impact on this world and help our fellow brothers and sisters, if you will, or fellow other humans. And it's like
I definitely do agree. Like we needed this time because we needed a wake-up call for our financial situation.
not just our financial situation, but if I want to, but the kind of life that I'm trying to create,
You
an
keep saying
abundant,
you're saying I'm a lot.
because because when I say because I'm the one that reads all the self-help books and entrepreneurial books and does this and that. I
Okay.
was the one that pushed us to go to therapy. You were the one that held us down. You did so much. You found me the job that I love so much today. Oh, I wouldn't be where I am without you either. So I mean, it's just as much as me as I am as it is me as it is you. Like it's a 50-50 thing here.
Mhm.
We're both doing our best.
Yeah.
But I'm just referring to me because I'm talking about that time. You talked about yourself and how you felt, and
Yeah.
that was how you were experiencing it. And so I'm just trying to experience or share kind of where I was coming from and why I felt like my experience was so important for me at
It's because you
least.
felt like you were called, if you will, to
I'm very I'm a
do
person that is very what does Heavenly Father want me to do and what does he need from me right now? And I will do what I feel prompted to do and that's maybe and that could be a lesson
I
that
just
is
don't
not
want to go
always the
that
best.
I just don't want to go down that road.
But like this is where that's where that road was for me. Like for
I know,
me
but okay,
like for
okay.
me like so
We might have
let
to
me
cut this
let,
out.
no, we're not cutting any of this out
No,
because this is
that's not what
important.
I'm about to say. We might have to cut this part out just because I don't want to seem, I don't know.
Uh-uh.
But when you say, um, this is who Heavenly Father wanted me to be, like, or this is what Heavenly Father wanted, that to me feels like, okay, Heavenly Father wanted me to suffer then. So I kind of just don't like going on that path, that road, because that just doesn't align with what I think was happening. We can keep that in or
It,
we can cut it
no, I
out.
mean, no, I don't, there's no reason to cut it. I mean, a lot of people think that way. That's how the majority, but that's how the majority of everyone, I would say, thinks like that. I mean, you're definitely not alone, so there's no reason to cut it. But when I say like the life that I'm trying to create for us and our family, you're obviously a big part of that. You're the majority of that, if not all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's a life of abundance, gratitude, love, excitement, and just awe, a general a deep awe for life, no matter what's happening.
Yeah.
In order to create a life of abundance, like I want for us, you have to be abundant, despite whatever your circumstances may be showing you. You, fundamentally, who you are, has to be an abundant person. If you you
You're talking
mentioned
about how you felt like you were already.
also, let me keep going. Like, so that, for context, that's where I'm trying. That's the kind of life that I want to be able to have, is where I wake up every single day just awe and so have so much gratitude for just the life that I'm living.
Yes.
And something that I really started to learn kind of right at the beginning, for like, there was a 6 month period where it got really bad. Right at the beginning of that 6 month period, I started doing this work on myself, these Dr. Joe Dispenza meditations, where you are essentially starting to change different things within yourself to better match the future that you're trying to create. And so in these meditations, you start to think about the future that you want for yourself, and maybe the car you're driving, or the house you're in, or just kind of what your daily life looks like. And then the most important part of these is you start to deeply feel as if that has already happened. So what does it feel like to live that dream? What does it to feel like to have that amount of money in your bank account? What does it feel like to drive that car you've always wanted? What does it feel like to wake up every single day excited for life? What does that feel like? And so because I knew where I was wanting to go, I knew I needed to be able to feel those emotions before it ever took place. I knew I needed to fundamentally change who I was and how I viewed the world. I needed to switch from a place of feeling like I never have enough to feeling like I always have more than I could ever ask for. And a big thing, if you ever start doing Dr. Joe Dispenza meditations or anything like that, one thing that is commonly said in the courses, in his books, and everything that he teaches is when you start doing these things, your life is going to fall apart. And it's because you're letting go of your current construction, of your current reality, to make room for the new one. And if you want to make room for the new one, you have to let go of everything, all the energy and everything else that is in alignment with that old life that you're trying to let go of to make room for that new one, right? And so when we are going into all of this, I hated it just as much as you do. But in my head, I'm also thinking, I'm doing this work that I know Heavenly Father needs me to be doing. This just feels right in my gut. I know I cannot stop doing this. I know I have to continue to even though that everything around me is telling me I'm in lack, to recognize the fact that I have everything that I could have ever asked for, and to start looking through the lens of abundance, even though my reality is everything but abundance. And the thing that I think I messed up on that should have happened sooner is I think I could have gotten a job sooner and still done that work. But so you're right. I should have gotten a job sooner, and or been looking for stuff sooner. And to be honest with you, like when we started applying for jobs, I didn't think it was going to take as long as it did. I even applied for warehouse jobs in January.
Yeah.
And like, so there was like a 1 month period where I was kind of dealing with the, like, because, okay,
Rejection.
dealing with the fact that I might have to go back to a 9 to 5. That was something that was really hard for me to swallow, because it took me over 3 years to quit a 9 to 5 that I didn't want to be at, and so on and so forth. Like, it wasn't just that RAM job, it was other warehouse jobs and stuff before that. So it took me a long time to be able to do something I love for work. And then the prospect of having to go back to the job, that scared me, and it took me it took me a while to come to terms with that. But once I did, I started applying to other jobs. It was a longer process than were expecting,
Oh my
which,
gosh, I know.
and so, like,
Even, yeah, warehouse jobs, you guys, they're rejecting Orson.
yeah, it was like Family Dollar. I, you know what? Why can't I work at Family?
I don't know.
It was weird.
It was so rough. And
So,
it's still like that now. The job market is just
yeah.
so horrible.
So that is the thing that I do wish I could have done better. And if anyone finds himself in this situation or something like that, just get the job, but keep doing this work. Like when it starts to get
What is
bad,
advice?
like when it starts, you should, if you can forecast in the future and be like, oh man, I feel like this could get bad. Maybe just start kind of putting a resume out there and kind of seeing and maybe starting that process before it really gets as bad as it did.
Oh,
And,
thank you for saying
and
that.
for,
It's made me feel so much better.
oh, well, yeah, of course. I mean, you're welcome. I don't know what my mind is all over the place. I'm sorry, but so I should have started hunting for a job, and I think it should have started at the very least in November.
Yeah, yeah.
And but instead, it took me, I would say, 2 months to finally overcome that.
Once our baby was born, I think he was like, "Oh shoot."
It wasn't like oh shoot. It was just like okay, it wasn't like
It,
you can't be playing around like this anymore. Like you've been doing the work.
you were kind of in denial that a baby was coming.
Maybe, and so
Like, because you didn't really,
it was hard,
really ready for a
but for
baby.
me,
It was just a lot.
I was ready for it. And then when everything started to fall apart, I got stressed. I got worked up as well because like I'm supposed to be the provider, supposed to be. I mean, that's the typical gender role, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's not
That was what a
important.
gender role that you would like to be.
Yeah, I want to be the main provider. I want to be the breadwinner, and you want to be more of a stay-at-home mom. I mean, maybe. I mean, that could change. I mean, things can change, but as of during that time, that's kind of what our thinking was. And so it was hard for me and a big pill to swallow too, to be like, none of this stuff is working. I feel like I'm doing everything that Heavenly Father wants me to be doing. I'm doing the hardest work that I've ever had to do on myself. The jobs aren't coming to me like I think they should be. Everything just keeps
Also,
falling
what you
apart.
kept saying, you're like, they'll come to me. Because that was only our experience. And I was like, no, Orson, you have to seek them out.
And well, and the
So,
big
like,
reason to why I was,
okay.
I mean, you're not wrong. Like in that situation, yes, I needed to be seeking situations out because
When you look back, do you ever say, because it's been a year now, when you look back, do you think, man, I was, I was dumb. I should not have let Lindsay go through that. I should have done this. Like you can still be a positive, go lucky person like you are and still say, I kind of really screwed that time
if
up.
I could go back, I would keep doing the work I was doing on myself and get a job sooner. Yes, I I will say yes if you want to say that, but I want to point out the fact that eventually, Lindsay, I truly believe wholeheartedly that you will look back on that situation and be grateful for how it turned out because you will have learned from it and grown.
How, besides financially?
Not it'll be something inside of you that I can't explain.
Mm,
The, I
maybe,
like
maybe
it
not.
makes and see, and this is hard for me honestly, and this gives you a little bit of insight about our relationship is because like I am so I feel so deeply and I work on myself and as much as I possibly can. And to have like Lindsay respond like that to to a phrase of you're gonna learn and grow from it and you'll be grateful that it happened. Like it's hard for me because I am so grateful for every experience no matter how hard it is. And especially for that one, like
Yeah.
I admit I should have got a job sooner. But when I look back on that, it's like I'm so glad that it happened the way that it did because I was doing the fundamental work that is going to build the foundation of the wealth that I really want to create for our life, which is starts from inside of me. It's the wealth is going to come because I am wealth. I am abundant. I am all those things. Like even just recently, like ever since we haven't needed it, everything is starting to start happening. But like it starts from within here first. And the hardest thing to do is to think you're abundant when everything around you is telling you are definitely not.
No, I agree.
And
I think that I definitely am grateful because it gave us a wake-up call because we thought we were high rollers when we, as a matter of fact, weren't at all. And we were making the dumbest financial decisions. We want to know something that I thought of too, of like where our money was going. We also had a house clean. We had a house, we never cleaned our house. We had someone clean our house for us.
yeah,
That was also just like a thing that like we did.
I did like that. We will have that when we can again.
Oh, it was so nice. But anyway, um, where was I going with that? Oh yes, I think we needed a wake up call of like, hey,
For our
can't be
finances, yeah.
for our finances. Yes, I think, like I said,
Okay.
I would look back to and be like, wow, that time was so reflective and it was so positive in this way and that way. If I wasn't pregnant and if we weren't about to have a baby, it would be different. It just
So yeah, but like somewhere in the future, that experience, like, so for those of you that aren't members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we are, and something that we get is a patriarchal blessing, which is like essentially like a letter from God, kind of
it's a blessing. It's just a blessing.
I mean, for people that don't understand very much, it's kind of like Heavenly Father or God telling you like, hey, here's some counsel for your life. It's not like do this or do that. It's just like I love you and so on and so forth. Some patriarchal blessings go in depth, but like for example, mine talks about our family being a pillar of strength to people across the world.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like a lot of the things that I think about is how would that person react in this situation? And so during all of that, I still had this in my mind, like, hey, I'm like, if I was a pillar of strength, how would I react in this kind of situation? And things like that. And I don't think I handled it perfectly. I definitely didn't. I think that version of myself would be like, go get a job. You won't be there forever. Like like
Yeah.
like it's fine. But I was worried about the fact that I was in a and
Be stuck there.
yeah, I didn't want to be stuck there like I felt. I didn't want to go back to those same things that I anyways, I've since worked through that and I just a little bit of spoiler, I suppose. I ended up going back to that job anyways.
Yeah, Orson did have to go back to a warehouse job for only a month or
Back
so.
to that Ram warehouse, which is, I mean, it's a great place to work, and I'm super grateful that they even took me back. Yeah. Anyways,
But yeah, he only had to work there for a month because then a videography and marketing job came along and he finally landed one.
I was going somewhere though with my thought, or was it? It was like the pillar of strength across the world. Was it more about how it makes me hard? It makes me sad to hear you say those types of things. Is that where I was going with it?
Yeah, but I just keep saying if I wasn't pregnant, it would be different.
Oh, I think I remember where I was going with it. So it's like that experience though. It's like with us being a pillar of strength for people across the world, that experience will give you this perspective you need to help other people in the future. And without that experience, you wouldn't be able to make an impact on someone's life that you will inevitably have somewhere in the future. I don't know how or when or what it's going to look like, but that experience is going to give you the insight you need to best be of service when you need to be it, when you need to be it. And like these hard experiences happen in our life for a reason. And that's why it's like, that's why I believe so strongly that one day, I don't know, it could be 40 years into the future. Like, I don't know. But one day I truly believe that you will one day look back on it and be grateful for it because of the fact that I know we're doing the work. We're going to therapy. I mean, you're married to me. I'm never going to stop working on myself. So, I mean, you're just always going to be around that.
Yeah.
And we're always going to be going to therapy. And so it's like inevitably, I really believe it just you haven't really had that insight, which is I mean, maybe it won't be like I have no idea, and it's not a bad thing that you feel this way.
Or what if I never am like, no, I'll never be grateful for that time. That time was horrible and depressing.
Well, then I would just say like that's obviously your choice, but you're limiting yourself to being like there's so much
Yeah.
happiness and emotion that you could feel if you chose to.
It could just be too fresh right now.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that is probably the case, which is there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think I was just trying to go down the path of like giving a little bit of insight into our relationship and what's something that I might struggle with versus kind of, and it just has to do with the way that we view the world.
Yeah.
And that time of our life, I did a lot of work in uh,
But I
in
needed money.
in line with trying to get myself to view the world the way that I knew my future self would. But you're right. My future self would already have gotten the job. My future self would feel how I feel right. I almost want to go work back at that job again and be like, see how fast I can go up and how much of an impact I can make in those people's lives while I'm there because I now view my job as more than a job, it's a calling because now I have the opportunity to impact someone's life on a deep level. My only concern is just going in with love, with no expectation, and just trying my best to be of service for that person, no matter what the outcome is. I just want to help them. And if you can go into a job with that kind of perspective, especially when you hate it, I think as you practice doing that over and over again, that job will be a whole lot easier and you'll become more of service because I mean when you're serving other people you're not thinking about yourself so much and so it'll just be an easier experience and a much more fun one but anyways
What was also like that I want to bring up like during my pregnancy
yeah
because having a baby is not cheap, especially first time mom when you have nothing. I mean, I relied a lot on my baby shower and oh my gosh, you guys, like so many friends and family came to my baby shower and got us so many things. Like it was amazing of how much help we had. And also like a hack that I did, and I'm going to do this when the time comes when I need to get rid of all my baby stuff, but I would be active on all social media, Instagram, Facebook, mostly Facebook because that's like Facebook Marketplace. Um, I got our crib for free, our dresser for free in her room. This is all her baby stuff. Crib for free, dresser for free. What else? There was another thing. Oh, like her high chair thing was free. Um,
a lot of toys that were free
so many toys, hand-me-downs from neighbors. There was also another big thing that was free. Oh, a jumper. Her little jumper was free. There was something else that was like really big that I was like, dang, we got so many free things. I can't think of it on the top of my head, but obviously the biggest things that I could think of right now is the crib and the dresser. Oh, the rocking chair was also gifted. Like so many things. And I'm just saying, like, if you're struggling right now during the holidays, sucks. I understand. And
oh
if
my
you're
gosh
what?
just like thinking about our holiday last year like being with my because my family came to us because you were pregnant which is really nice
So nice.
but it was just like we didn't my family we do families do you want to finish your thought and we can go into that
Well, I was just saying, oh, our bassinet. I got a free bassinet.
mm-hmm.
Like just so many things were free.
Yeah.
And like I said, when the time comes, I'm everything I'm gonna give away will be free. I'm not gonna because I needed it so badly. I know that if I give another crib, dresser, like everything that was also gifted to us from the baby shower, like her swing or her nicer bassinet or sound machines, sleep sacks, like everything free. Like posting it and being like, whoever is a mom in need, like, because a lot of people like sell their baby stuff for cheaper so they can get something out of it because baby stuff is really expensive. But no, I'm 100% going to give it all away to a mom in need.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. That's
'Cause
great.
I needed it so bad. And I know that other people, especially nowadays, everything is so expensive. I'm just gonna need everything so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what were you gonna say before you were like, oh,
I was just thinking about that Christmas because it's like
right.
we were with my family and my family we pick individual. So I have three older sisters and we rotate. So like we buy presents for one family and one family buys presents for us. We don't have to buy presents for everybody just to try to make it a little bit cheaper. Anyways, so we didn't like we didn't how many presents did we open with my family? Do you remember?
One.
And we opened one?
Mm-hmm. Because the family, your sister who had us, I believe they were delayed or something, so we couldn't get the presents until a couple days after Christmas. So Christmas morning, we opened one, and that was the Ninja ice cream machine that your dad got us, which, we use all the time. I love that thing.
That's right. Yeah. And I'm sure she's probably listening to this, but like, don't feel bad at all. Like, it was totally fine.
No, also, no one had any idea except for our parents how bad we were struggling.
Yeah. But it was like, it's not about the presents or anything like that. But it was, it's just,
it was the energy.
It was just more so a reminder of the, like, because we didn't get presents for either one of us.
Yeah, like each other.
Yeah.
We normally do that.
So we didn't get each other presents. And the fact that we only opened one present was just such a reminder of the fact, like, how poor we were at the time. Because, like, normally we would open gifts that we gave to each other, which would make it more fun. And
we would give presents, too, which also is such an amazing feeling. We all didn't have much to contribute either.
Yeah. And, I mean, we still contributed and did our best, but it was just, like, only opening one gift on Christmas morning with like, we were supposed to be with my family, but opening one present that morning, it was just like a heavy sigh of like, oh, man, like we can't even give each other gifts to at least open something. And again, I know it's not about the gifts or anything like that, but it was just another like, hey, this is reality.
Life. And here, a baby's coming.
And it's hard to not think like this is going to be forever. Like sometimes you're in it and you're just like, man, is this ever going to end?
Yeah.
It does.
I knew it was because I was like, Orson just needs to get a job and we'd be just fine because our bills are not very much. So I knew it was going to end eventually.
True. Well, I mean, it did get better. Like we went over to your parents' house and they ended up having a lot of presents for us to open, which was a huge surprise, and we weren't expecting that at all.
Oh my gosh, we went to family's house, you guys. They got me a car seat and stroller you guys, I need to say this. So, okay. I didn't care about what crib I had. I didn't care about the dresser. I didn't care about the rocking chair. I cared about nothing. I didn't care what clothes she had as long as she had some clothes. I cared about nothing, but for some reason I cared about a car seat and a stroller. I wanted the best of the best. And I don't even care our financial situation. I was going to get the best of the best. So I wanted the Nuna car seat and stroller combo, not even the most expensive kind that I could have gotten, but the car seat stroller combo I wanted was either $700 or $800, which that is so expensive. You can get a car seat and a stroller at Walmart for probably $300. So I knew, but this is how we did it. So I sold one of our queen beds that was queen bed and mattress that was in our one room because we were going to turn that room into a nursery. We had an extra fridge in the garage, sold that. I got, I believe, $300 or $400 for my Christmas bonus at work. And yeah, so I literally was just having cash. And I believe I got to $700 and I was about to buy it. And my mom was like, no, maybe they'll go on sale before Christmas or something, or after Christmas or something. So I didn't buy it. And they got that for me and I just sobbed. I don't know if you remember. And it's so funny because only my parents knew what we were going through. All of my siblings were probably like, dang, she's hormonal. But no, I was literally just like, I was saving for months, selling everything I had to be able to buy this car seat and stroller. And now I was just gifted this and now I have $700. I'm sure we use that for like utilities or something. I'm not sure, but it went towards bills.
Yeah.
Which it should have gone to bills anyway because yes. But I needed that for myself. And I didn't care if that was like the wrong decision to want to buy that because we could not afford it in the slightest. But I just needed that and I needed to treat myself. So, but yeah, going over to my family's house was a bit of a sigh of relief because we still had like, we just for, I don't know, 20 minutes of us opening presents, we kind of forgot what was happening.
Yeah.
And I feel like,
I think that's the key point right there. It let us forget what was actually happening. When we only opened one gift, it was just a magnifying glass on what was happening.
it felt like a magnifying. I don't think anybody noticed us. Just because there were so many kids in your families, it was just like no one. But I felt like
Yeah,
I felt like we were in a like yes, a magnifying glass. Like I wanted to crawl into a hole because I was so embarrassed. And everyone was asking, "Oh, what did you get, Orson?" I was like, "Nothing." And they're just like, "Oh." Ah.
yeah.
But anyway, so yes, I remember that Christmas our parents got us that. They gave you a Lululemon set, which was so sweet.
Not necessary at all, but it was so nice of them. I still wear it. I
Oh,
mean, I traded in the sweatpants just because I knew I wouldn't wear them, but I wear those shorts all the time. So I get the money that they spent was I use it all the time.
yes. So that was nice to forget for
Yeah, it was like a little break from
how poor we were.
yeah. Yeah, it was
And now, so we aren't like let's talk about where we're at now.
okay. Well, like
Got better.
okay, so like after Christmas,
We had
I ended up going. Yes, we had Scarlet. It was still rough. Like you were home, and then I ended up finally going back to. I applied at RAM, I think in January. I didn't have an interview until like February,
yeah,
and
hire
then
you for a couple months.
I got the job in like March, I think. And so I went back to RAM Company, which was the job that I was at for 3 years. And that was, like I said earlier, that was a tougher pill for me to swallow. But like the entire time I was there, I was like focusing on this is a part of my dream life. Like I am living my dream life. And so I was really focusing on trying to make the most of it
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. And during that time, Lindsay was still applying for like hundreds of jobs for me. And she came across this job. It's called Simple RFID. It's an inventory management company, and they were like needing a videographer. Had the interview. Lindsay was in the car. It went really well.
Yeah, I was secretly, it was just like it's on your phone from Indeed. And I just happened to be in the car and I was like, that interview went really well. And Orson goes at the end of it, he goes, that's what they all are. Like I do well on all the interviews and they don't hire me. So I was like, oh, dang it.
Yeah, you thought I was the problem. Like I was doing bad.
I did. Even me and my mom were like, Orson has had 1,000 interviews. He must be a horrible interviewer. And I was like, I have no idea. I don't know what's going on. But when I sat in the car with him for one, I was like, oh, you're good. So yeah, they just don't like me or something. And it was also local where we live. It was because I was also applying for jobs literally
Yeah, it's
anywhere
like
in
the
the
fact that it
world.
was local was like amazing.
Oh yeah, I didn't have to move.
And then like there was also other opportunities like with freelance work with this. Like I'd meet somebody and I'd be like, oh, this could work out. And then it just ends up panning into nothing. And so like
It was
our energy around that time of our life was very, "Oh, I need this to happen," which is not the right way to
I need
approach
to
it.
happen getting rejected, like
Things
people
just
forgetting about you, like you having meetings with certain people and they just cancel an hour before when we were like banking on this to work and it was so dehumanizing.
that's really dramatic.
I mean, come
And
on.
I get what you're saying, but
Like it's
it makes you feel like when am I gonna like this is never ending.
yes.
So, anyways, so just to
But he
continue,
finally landed a
Yes.
videography job
which is the simple RFID job.
that was gonna pay the bills and
Yeah.
more.
And I got there and there was like I think I was the sixth person in the business. There was only four of them before, and they just had started. They hired us another sales guy, or their only sales. I mean, he's still our only sales guy. Um, and then like one other. So there was really only seven of us, 6 or 7 of us there. So it was just like a small startup vibe business. And yeah, that's where I've been working there.
since March or April of this
It
year.
was maybe June,
June?
April. It was March. I was there for a month and a half. I was at RAM for a month and a half, or 2.5 months.
Oh, I thought you were only there for a month.
No, it was 2.5 months.
Oh, okay. Then I guess it was the summer. I thought it was more the spring.
Yeah, no, it was 2.5 months. So yeah, I've been working there, and I'm really enjoying it. Like, it's a SaaS company, which is software as a service. That's what that stands for. But like what's like Netflix, for example, that's considered a SaaS company. And it's been really interesting because like we use software, so many of us on a daily basis, like Instagram or Facebook, where these softwares that we use all the time, and it's like, oh, they just work. Like they're just supposed to work, but like really there's like a whole team. And
Your hand is in my camera.
oh my god, sorry. Anyways, there's a,
This camera angles. Orson's trying something
oh,
new.
this one's work. This one's good. I like this.
Okay.
This looks good. Anyway, I haven't been doing. I hope I haven't been doing that the whole time.
Maybe you haven't.
No.
I just am a hand.
Anyway, so what was I saying? You
SaaS company. You're lying down a little hole.
it's been fun for me to kind of understand that like these softwares that we all use on a regular basis, there's an entire team and strategy behind how they're run with like pricing and websites, and like everything is so calculated. It really is, to really get you to want to. I mean, that's how everything is, to get you to want to buy it. But I feel like I'm actually learning how to build a business, like a legitimate business.
Yeah.
And I'm having a lot of fun with it.
And I got you that job.
And you did give me that job. It's all because of you. I try to tell everybody that.
That's all because of me.
It is. It's true. Without you applying to job, like I said earlier, like it's not. It's more like you are pretty much the reasoning behind everything that I want to create for a life. And it's like, you are my why. Scarlett is my why. I mean, there's more to it than that too that I can pull from if it ever gets hard. But like, you are the biggest, most important thing in my life. And I am sorry that you felt like it was so rough there, and I was the main reasoning behind it. And I'm sorry it took me so long to get the job. I mean, in those,
As long as you realize you could have done things
no,
differently. That's all you're gonna ask for. Honestly, you can't change the past, but if you have certain things that you wish you had done differently, then that's
if I could go back, I would change it, but I wouldn't change the lessons that I've learned.
yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Like, I wouldn't go back. I mean, I honestly, I don't think I would go back and change it, only because it's brought me who I am today.
And you should have. And
I should have. I want to go back and change it. I want to go back and change it because it's brought me who I am today. But I wish I would have handled it differently. I wish I would have gone.
Sure.
Why do you always like? I'm passionate, and so sometimes I go in circles.
No.
So sorry about it. You don't need to get all mad at me for it.
No, man.
So let me just finish.
I just want to end this on a positive note.
That's where I was going with it.
Okay.
Yeah,
we're talking about SaaS companies.
Yeah, and I'm having fun with it. And then like on the topic of when you don't need something to happen, everything starts happening. Like, I've gotten 2 random freelance clients out of nowhere that are bringing in extra, like, a little over $3,000 for us. And that's going to allow us to pay off all of that debt that we incurred during that year and a half of a bad season of our finances, and pay it off within like the next 4 or 5 months. And
just think of that, like, if we were to get like extra like $3,000 or whatever, we would just spend it.
Yeah, we used to.
And it's so nice to know that, oh, if we make $3,000 a month, oh, that's great. We can pay our bills. We can grocery shop as we please and live our life. That's amazing. And thankfully, with Orson's job, we can pay the bills, and that's all I need. That's all I ask for. And now that things are finally having like momentum with get like quote unquote extra money that we can put aside for savings finally and paying off some credit cards. It's just amazing.
Why do you think there's momentum building?
I don't know. Mm.
What like do you
It's because of
like
our
you guess?
different decision making. There wouldn't be any momentum if we just spend every
For
penny.
sure. You're right. I think the biggest culprit as to why there's momentum building is because we fundamentally changed who we are. Like that work that I was doing during the hard season, I think has built the foundation that this momentum is building off of. The fact that we don't need that to happen anymore. The fact, I mean, that also comes from having found a job, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
understand that, but it's coming from a place of like fundamentally who I am and who you are and who we're working on becoming are people that are just abundant. And no matter what our financial state is, it doesn't change who we are in our core, who is which is an abundant person. An abundant person, they have more than enough for what they ever need. And if we look back on that situation, we always were taken care of in some form, way, or fashion. And it might have not been the way that we wanted to be taken care of, but it's important to recognize that we were taken care of and to shed a lot of gratitude on that fact.
Yeah. Like I said, I got lucky with a lot of free stuff, hand-me-downs, secondhand stuff for the baby. Um, our parents pulling through and
Yeah.
helping us so much.
But without those hard times, we wouldn't be able to experience the amazing highs that we're coming into and we're experiencing now.
Definitely agree with that. I didn't really appreciate like how much money certain things are. It sounds literally so stupid, especially because we weren't like millionaires, you guys. Like, but we still felt like we were on top of the world. Um, like I was like, oh, $500, that's nothing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how could I ever think that $500 was nothing? No matter how much money I'm making, I'm gonna be like, oh, $500, that's expensive. Like, why? Why? So I'm glad that now I know how much money is. I know what money is now.
Mhm.
I know the value of $100, when at first you're like, oh, that's nothing. No, $100. It's a lot of money you can do a lot with that.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, let's wrap this up. I'm very hot and I have to pee.
Okay.
But
Well, is
anyway,
there any like parting thoughts that you would say to anyone that's there in the?
let me end this. Um, yeah, like I kind of had said before, like if you're struggling, we feel you, we understand, and we're sorry. Trying to find a job is complete BS nowadays, and it's so hard. And during the holidays, I can't even imagine. I'm seeing so many videos on TikTok of getting laid off 2 weeks before the holidays. It just sucks. And I get angry and I just hate that for people, but just know that it will be a short time, hopefully, of struggling, but you will get through it. Yeah, you'll get through it because I I was just like, when is this gonna finally end? And it finally did. And here we are a year later, our financial situation turned totally. We can pay our bills, we have a baby.
2025 is gonna be even bigger. Like
Yeah,
it's gonna keep snowballing.
it's gonna be amazing, and I know it's gonna be amazing.
And a big part of that too is because we're gonna make different decisions based off of the lessons we learned in
Yeah.
the season.
And if you're in your 20s and making really good money, like if you can pay your bills and you have $5,000 to $7,000 quote unquote extra, maybe you should save that money and not spend every cent. I still can't believe we did that.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
It's so crazy. So yeah, save your money. I'm sorry if you're struggling. I understand. And we love you.
The one thing that I would say is just remember it's all working for you, not against you.
Okay. That's cool.
Do you not believe that?
I don't know what that means.
Like those hard times are working. It's for you. It's not to hurt you in any way. It's not.
Oh,
It's not
okay,
to break
sure.
you down. But like this is to build you up into something even special.
Yeah, yeah.
Like something that I heard
Bigger
of.
things
Like,
when one door closes, two doors open.
like one thing that I heard that I really liked from a guy who actually lives here. His name is Justin Prince. I don't think this is going to be the direct quote, but something that he talks a lot about is like the harder the challenges that you experience, the bigger the wins that you're going to have. So if you're going through something and it just feels just awful, like you have no idea how you're going to get out of it, you have no idea when you're going to get out of it, or if, like, it's those experiences that are going to create the catalyst for you to have incredible wins in the future.
Yeah.
It's just you have to remember that those experiences are working for you and they're not working against you.
I like that. I like that. Um, let me see. Is there anything else I would like to add? Oh, I don't really know, but yeah, that's a good chunk of our life, you guys, that we've kind of been holding off talking about just because it wasn't the right time. But now,
We literally, it's just so funny. Just the last thing, it's like literally crazy. We used to think, like, when is something bad gonna happen? And I,
yeah,
and
it's not bad.
and yeah, you would say that, and I'd be like, why does something bad happen? Like, why can't it just always get better?
Yeah,
Anyways,
because we would just be always doing so good financially. Like normally newlyweds are broke. We were never broke, you guys. Never. We both always had really good jobs and worked our booties off. And I would
built a
literally
brand new house,
I
and
would
like,
I would say out loud, when is something bad gonna happen to us? Like what the heck? We're so lucky. I just had no idea what life could throw. And honestly, pfft, something way worse could happen. Like not even finance wise, but like family wise. Like you just never know what life could throw at you, and you just need to be grateful for that. My family's healthy, that we can pay our bills. Like you just need to be grateful for the small things that are going right in your life because one day that might not you might not have that. So, oh shit. Oh my gosh. That's scared.
Stella.
Why did she bark?
I have no idea. That was weird.
Stella.
Did she wake Scarlett up?
No, but
Shut up.
gosh.
Sorry, guys. Stella's being weird. And I guess that'll be the ending for it.
I hate her.
Oh my
Not
gosh.
actually, guys. We have a love-hate
We do.
relationship.
But these pajamas that we're wearing are ridiculously hot, and I need to get
They're
out of these
silk.
lights.
They're fancy.
I
We
need to
have
get out of. I'm like sweating. Like
Okay.
I gotta be.
All right.
Get ready.
One, two. Wait, I feel like we didn't really end it good enough.
I thought I would ended it good with. It's not. It's for you. It's not against you. I felt like that was a good.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Bye.